All right, the Steelers get back at it tomorrow at practice. All of a sudden on Thursday, they'll be in Atlanta, final preseason game, and then 17 days before they actually play a game. So Mark Kaboly, the question will be, should starters play in this game? And I know some of the elite guys really shouldn't, like T.J. Watt, like Cam Hayward. Mike Tomlin last night intimated a lot of guys could play. Should they play? Is it beneficial?
I think it is. I mean, look what he did yesterday. He got T.J. out after 8, Cam out after 10 snaps. Some of the other guys, maybe a series or two. You approach it that same way. Give the offense a series. If they go down and score, fine, get them out. I think you can't have, what would it be, 22 straight days without any activity like that. I think if you're safe and smart, it can be safe.
What do you say, Will?
I think during the COVID year, right, like there weren't any games, and they won their first, 11, 12 games. So I'm okay if they sit, because the worst, good Lord, because Lord knows if Kenny twists his knee rolling out, we are on here next Sunday. Why are they playing the starters, right? So
that could happen in practice, though.
Yeah, but I think like everybody has to practice. Yeah. I think it's less when you have an opportunity to not play them and they get hurt. I think that would be with like Mike. What are you doing? So I'm okay.
I think sometimes they play just as hard in practice when they go at it in pads.
Like I'm a big worry wart, and my knee jerk is no, that they shouldn't play. But when you put it in terms of 22 days of inactivity, I can understand that. I wouldn't play the true high-end guys, and I wouldn't play the quarterback. Kenny Pickett wouldn't play. I'd put him through pregame. I'd make him simulate kind of the run-up to a game just to get the feel, kind of, but I wouldn't play him. I mean, what can he do? If he plays wonderfully, it changes nothing. If he plays terribly, then all we do is question, oh, my gosh, now what?
I agree with you on that one with Kenny. If there's any guy sitting, because one thing you want to go into that week one against San Francisco is that guy feeling as good as possible.
And he's at the top of the mountain right now.
You can't get any higher than him right now.
All right, let's talk about.
It's the preseason.
I'm talking about his confidence.
Starting to sound like Pony.
Well, I'm talking about. I'm talking about confidence-wise. What could he do that could better? Like Colin said,
it's only 3 series, though. How about if you need a little bit more time? How about if he wants to see this offensive line?
Man, if I go up there and hit a home run on my first at bat, I'm sitting. Forget it. I'm feeling good.
All right, one guy we saw, and I was encouraged to see him utilized in the red zone because they've had problems in the red zone converting touchdowns, is Darnell Washington. So, Will, this is a 6'7" guy. He was on, and 2 times he got defensive pass interference calls. They had basically had to tackle him. How much should they use him in that situation, even though he's third behind, both Freiermuth and
look, he's a gifted athlete. I still think running with the football is kind of a weird – to watch him, to me, it looks a little labored because he's a big dude. But, man, if you just say, hey, run 5 yards and just out-jump the guy covering you, I do that every time.
I wanted to see them run the ball over his side down in the goal line, and I don't see that a lot. If you want to look for something bad, man, that goal line series where they ran the ball 3 or 4 times.
To be honest, McFarland's the wrong guy. It would have been Harris. It would have been –
if you need him in the future, then, you can realize I don't think he can do that.
Though,
yes.
Is it?
But what I'm saying is, I would have liked them to see him run over him. They did not run over his side. I would like to see the 3 tight ends, throw 4 tight ends in. I don't know, throw Kendrick Green in there. I wanted to see power football in that situation.
I don't want to see any more of Kendrick Green. But nonetheless, I do think that people need to be careful with the learning curve with him. I think that he comes in and he shows these brilliant flashes. But when you play tight end, essentially you have to learn 2 positions. You have to learn a line position. You have to learn everything from a receiver standpoint as well. I'm real high on Darnell Washington, but we have to be careful that we don't expect too much too quick.
When he was in OTAs, he was down here.
Right.
He's made a quick leap in 2 months or whatever it's been. So if that's the trajectory he's staying on, he's in.
One final topic here before we go to break, and that would be something I think you hit upon, and that is this philosophy. I think the Steelers went out in the offense in the offseason and build up a physicality on both offense and defense with the idea that they finish strong running the football, 7-2 down the stretch. They're going to do that again. Has that changed, Mark? Has that now changed because Kenny Pickett shows you that he can quick strike ability, as you said, Will, 3 touchdowns outside of the red zone?
I mean, we haven't learned anything about this run game at all in the preseason, right?
Well,
I don't think they're not going to ignore it, that's for sure.
I did learn last night that I do think that there's times where Samuel can be their best offensive player. And, Bob, you were on the call last night. That call over left end was Samuel and Dan Moore obliterated everything on that side, and then Deontay Johnson down the field made another block.
Did you see the fake Jack Sweet action on that play?
Yes, but but Samuel, I think, can be their best player at times.
I still think they're building a yin to the yang of the Chiefs and the Bills, not the Bills we saw last night. But I do think, because I still think, like, if they get in a shootout with Kansas City or or the Chargers, somebody they're going to have to beat if they want to play into January. I still think that they're going to be a kind of a run first. I still think they want to hold the ball 32, 34 minutes a game so that Minka and TJ and Cam and those guys are fresh. So, but if they can complement that with actually throwing the ball down the field and being effective, that does make them very potent.
I don't want to see what I saw last year and just run the ball. Kenny, we need you 2 minutes left. I don't want to see that.
Well,
they need.
But they may need to run the ball to run out a game where they have a lead.
Yeah, and they're not going to play Naj a lot, so that's probably a reason as well. I don't know how to pronounce his name, so I call him
You just call him Naj.
Because if I say it the
There's
other way,
nothing more Pittsburgh than what you just said.
Because if I say it wrong, he always yells at you. So I just say Naj.
Just good you don't have Xavier Valladay in your lineup. We're going to take a break here. When we come back, we're going to talk about Paul Skeens and the Pirates. And should he be the opening day pitcher from what I've seen so far? The answer may be yes, or do they wait? What's the best answer? We'll talk about it next.